Hi my lovies and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a trip down memory lane. I totally got inspiration from Jessica Braun or Jam Beauty 89 here on YouTube. I think I've watched her channel since almost the beginning, but she released a video a couple of months ago or a month back or a little while ago anyway, and she was basically talking in that video, a video about products YouTubers used to rave about or used to talk about quite a lot, beauty YouTubers obviously. She mentioned so many nostalgic products for me in that video and I just wanted to come out with my own version. Obviously she talked about like the Naked palettes and a couple of other products in the video. I won't spoil it too much, but definitely go and check out her video. I'll link it down below. But I wanted to touch upon a few products in that video that kind of remind me of the early YouTube days before I even had my channel or when I had just started my channel. I'm not an OG YouTuber by any means, but I have been on YouTube for 4 or 5 years. I don't know, time's escaping me right now. But I have been on YouTube for a while and these are some of the products that I think just bring me right back to the beginning, to where it all began. So to kickstart this off, I'm going to talk about two little palettes that I have here that I thought I would never get my hands on, and anytime I ever saw people use them in videos, mostly American YouTubers, I was like, am I ever going to be able to get these here in Ireland? They are the little Wet n Wild palettes, and these two palettes to me just bring me right back to the early days of YouTube. This one is Walking on Eggshells. Everybody used to rave about this and they used to compare this to MAC eyeshadows that there was like, I think it was All That Glitters and I can't remember all the shades, but I know that this was a dupe for MAC eyeshadows. And then the other one here is the Comfort Zone palette, guys. Like if you have never tried these palettes, they're actually pretty decent quality, but you can obviously now buy Wet n Wild here in Ireland in selected stores. I think it's in Dunnes and some pharmacies. I think they've removed them from all the pennies. Well, it's not in my local pennies anymore. Oh my God, I can't get into this. I think this has become like a running trend for me. I can't get into any eyeshadow palettes anymore. And this is the Comfort Zone palette, what this looks like on the inside. I used to love this shade here, which is like Max Club, I think it was like, or Blue Brown Pigment. Just look at that. And then this green. Oh my God, this is actually such a decent quality eyeshadow palette. I don't know why I ever stopped using these eyeshadow palettes. These are just OGs of the YouTube community and I still love them to this day. I feel like YouTube's changed so much over the years, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the worst, but I feel like when I used to watch YouTube back, like originally, I was still in school and there was only a few people on YouTube. Most of them were Americans, like Marlena from Makeup Geek was here, Michelle Fawn, Juicy Star 07 and Candy Johnson obviously, and I used to watch them all. The next product that screams like OG YouTube to me, or like back in the day, is the box blushes from Benefit and Coralista in particular. Coralista was the first box blush I ever got and I got it I think when I was around 17. This is not obviously it, but the original one that I had, I used it to death. Hit pan on it. Even the scent of it, oh my God. It brings back so many memories. I remember I used to be addicted to watching people's YouTube collections and like watching like what makeup that they had and be like drooling over it and be like, am I ever gonna have that much makeup? I want that much makeup. But this was one of the first makeup products that I ever got. I remember high end and I was just so obsessed with it that I used it every day. This is in the Estee Lauder Double Wear. Yeah, box blushes, you can't beat them. And again, another box blush. Well, this is a bronzer. It's the Hoola bronzer. And this is again OG feels about it. I don't know why I don't use it as often. I used to love it back in the day. I don't know, I've discovered other things. It's still a great bronzer and they now have Hoola Light and stuff. But those box blushes and bronzers, there was just so many of them, like Dallas, there was Dandelion, there was Havana, there was the Rockachore, was it Rockachore? Rockachore. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. There was so many of them and I used to just be drooling over them. Bella Bamba was my favourite one and I have 2 Bella Bambas and you know, it's been discontinued since, but I never want to use it because I just don't want to use it up because I know I can never get it again. The next products for me that really bring me right back to the beginning, back to when it all began, is the Wet n Wild, oh my god, there's a hair in it, is the Wet n Wild lipsticks, and particularly this one here. This is Bare It All. I just have to double check to make sure that is Bare It All, but this is Bare It All. This was one of the first ones that I ever got hold of. Again, I used to scour the internet to try and find Wet n Wild. This is back like in, oh my god, like 2008, like back when I was in school and I had no idea about makeup, and I just wanted to get Wet n Wild. It was like one of the makeup products that I just really wanted. Wet n Wild and NYX, they were like the two biggest makeup brands for me. I was like, oh my god, can't get those in Ireland, and I would love to get a hold of them. So Bare It All was one of the first lipsticks I ever got hold of, and I still wear it to this day. I haven't worn it in quite a while. Tinkerbell was another one that was kind of up there, and there was another one, Tinkerbell, Bare It All, but there was another one anyway that I really liked, and everyone used to wear it. I remember 11th Gorgeous in particular, they used to wear an awful lot of Wet n Wild lipsticks, and I just always wanted them. They weren't available in Ireland, and I used to think, like, I just want Wet n Wild products to come to Ireland, and they have since come to Ireland. Obviously, my younger self would have preferred if they were there when I was a teen because they're so affordable. Another throwback product to me is the Loreal Pro palette. Guys, do you remember this? Everybody had this. I ended up having to get this shipped from the US. Jimmy got it for me, actually. I don't know how he managed to get hold of it at the time. We used either a shipping service or he knew someone in the States or something. I can't remember what it was. Like, I had this so long, but I remember been like, I need that Loreal Pro palette. This is what it looks like. It's not something I dip into at all anymore. It's not something that draws me to it, but I can't declutter it because I just have nostalgic feels about it. I decluttered the second one. I don't like that one at all, but this one, I don't know, it has a special place in my heart that I've just thrown it on the floor. This is like one of the OG palettes. I still think it's amazing looking. Like, the pigmentation's still there. I don't know if you can see them there, but there are better palettes available on the market. This was a hefty price as well. Okay, I think MAC is probably one of the most nostalgic, one of the most OG makeup products here on YouTube. Juicy Star 07 used to have like so much MAC, and I was like, am I ever gonna own that much? And I do now. I own so much MAC, and it's not a brand that I reach for that much anymore, but back then, like, I was a teenager and I used to think you've made it if you can afford MAC products. Yeah, that's just the way younger me used to think. This is definitely one of the old YouTube products. Everybody talked about this, everybody owned it, everybody raved about it, and it's MAC Soft and Gentle. I even have it in the original packaging because this is super old, not something that, again, I use, but again, it's something that has a place in my heart that I will probably never declutter it unless it starts to grow mold or starts to really smell bad. There's about 10 to 15 makeup products in my collection that I just find it very difficult to declutter them because they hold like such a special place, and they remind me of the early days and when I couldn't afford anything and I would just like save my money for certain makeup products and, you know, really treasure them and enjoy them. And not that I don't enjoy my makeup products now, back then it just, you know, I really saved to get these things. Soft and Gentle, OG product, one of the first highlighters that was available before any of the others. That's it there. It's actually quite pretty looking at it now. Why did I ever stop using you? I don't know. I think other highlights came on the market. I had no idea how to use this initially when I first got it. I just seen Marlena and like that Juicy Star 07 and loads of people raving about it, and I bought it and I used to use it as an eyeshadow because I didn't highlight my cheekbones and I had no idea what I was at with it. But I obviously used it as a highlighter then eventually. But initially I remember I used to put it on my eyelids. Oh. Now you cannot deny that this is one of the most OG products on YouTube that everybody raved about, everybody had, everybody just went on and on and on about it. It's NARS Laguna. I also want to throw in NARS Orgasm to this as well. My NARS Orgasm is all used up and I've thrown it out, obviously because it's an empty package. So I must actually buy that blush again when I'm low on other blushes or when I use up another blush because I have enough at the moment to keep me going. But NARS Orgasm and NARS Laguna were the two kind of OG blush and bronzers. Everybody had them, everybody talked about them, everybody raved about them. They just bring me right back to the early days. And do you know what? I haven't used this in probably about a year, I'd say. So if it's still kind of good quality, doesn't smell bad or anything, and it is a powder product. It has a 24-month shelf life. This is definitely older than that. I might just check one of those websites, you know, with the serial code just to see if it's still usable. I still really liked this bronzer up until I stopped using it like a year ago, and it was just amazing. And I only stopped using some of these products because other products came out and I kind of forgot about them. I think I need to do like a full face of like old favorites, or you know, a full face of makeup products I've forgotten about or something like that, because every time I look at these products I'm like, wow, some of these are amazing and I don't use them anymore. Why did I forget about them? I think MAC paint pots are another thing that everybody raved about back then, and this is the one that I have here in Indian Wood. You see me using Paint Early quite a lot. I use it a lot, but I just said I'd show you something different. Isn't it so pretty? Again, I had no idea what I was doing with these paint pots. That's it there on my wrist. It's such a really nice gold shade. You use this obviously as a base to place eyeshadows on top of and just makes them pop and look really vibrant on your eyelid, lasts all day, not crease or anything like that. To be honest, I don't know why I bought so many of these, because they're not something I would generally dip into now. I think eyeshadows are so pigmented now that we have very little use for bases like this anymore. And I know I do in my collection. Like even looking at those Wet n Wild eyeshadows, they're just so pigmented. Like I don't have any use for anything like base wise like this anymore, but I bought it back then because everybody raved about it, not because I really needed it. So that probably has to be decluttered right now. Well, I'll do a back to MAC with it because it's been in my collection for a very long time. It's time for it to go. One of the very first mascaras I ever used to use was that Maybelline mascara. I can't remember what it was called, but it had a pink bottle and a red lid, a green lid. And I can't remember what it was called, but my mum owned that mascara, and that was the first mascara I was ever introduced to. But the first mascara that I ever remember people raving about on YouTube and talking about quite a lot was the L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black Mascara. Marlena from Makeup Geek was the first person I ever heard talk about this mascara and rave and talk so highly of it that I had to go out and get it, because obviously it was drugstore, it was affordable, and I knew I would like it because Marlena talked so highly of it, and she was so right. I love this mascara. Now this mascara needs to be again thrown out because it's been, I don't even think it's, oh well, nah, it's all right, but it has been opened I'd say for about 6 months, so it's time for it to go. I haven't used this mascara in a long time. I'm just trying out new mascaras now, but anytime I go back to this one, I always love it to death. The Telescopic is another one that's kind of like been around for years and years and years, and everybody loved it and everybody raved about it. Again, another one of my personal favorites. I actually have a fresh bottle of it that I haven't even opened yet, and I'm gonna try it again just to see, do I still love it? So I do think one of those videos of like testing all my old favorites or products I've forgotten about would be actually a good idea. So stay tuned for that. I might actually film that. I'm sure you guys remember this. This is the Mary Luminizer from the Balm. This is one of the first highlighters that I ever owned. Mine is crushed to a million pieces on the inside, but I will give you a little swatch of it if I can. This was the first highlight that I ever kind of really remember loving and feeling like I did not need anything else because I had this, and it is so beautiful. And I remember wanting this one so bad because people were obviously talking about it, and I just fell in love with it and used it for years and years and years. And only kind of like in the last, we'll say like 2 years, I've really gotten into other highlighters and experimenting with them and seeing them coming out from more affordable brands and stuff like this. But this one and Soft and Gentle were kind of like the only ones back then that people used, raved about. And Gilded Honey from Loreal as well. That was another one that people loved and raved about. Another bronzer that I remember loving so much, and again this was available in Ireland. NYC has since left Ireland. I don't know if you can even get any NYC products anymore, but this is the Sunny Bronzer, guys. Everybody has to remember this because everybody on YouTube talked about it, raved about it, used it. I feel like the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula has taken over the hype from this one, but this is still such a pretty bronzer. Like, it's not too orange, it's not too overly pigmented that you can't, you know, blend it out. It's really creamy. Again, because you can't get NYC, I think I'm gonna probably hold on to this. It has a 30-month shelf life. I think I've had this for probably about 4 years, so that's no joke. But again, nostalgic feels from it, and it's not something I want to declutter. And the last few products I just want to talk about, the first ones are from NYX. These are their Jumbo eye pencils. Does anyone remember these? Everybody talked about these. Everybody used these on YouTube, raved about them. And again, NYX was a makeup brand that I could not get in Ireland, and I had to buy these from the US from some website. I can't remember if I got my cousins to send them over from America or something. I can't remember how I got a hold of them at the time. So I have Milk and yogurt. They were the two that I was obsessed with, and Milk is definitely one that everybody talked about and raved about and used, and I knew I needed it. And yogurt was another one that a lot of people used and raved about because it was just a really nice pink shade. But Milk, everybody used it as a base for bright colors, or if they wanted to make whites pop or whatever it was. I feel like everybody used it. And Marlena again was another instigator for me purchasing that, even though I had seen so many other people use it on YouTube, but definitely when she used a product I was like, I need that now. So next I just want to talk about MAC eyeshadows. I don't think I need to kind of go into too much detail about these. I remember looking at people's makeup collections back then. They'd have every single MAC eyeshadow, and they'd have them all in lovely palettes, all color coordinated and everything. And I had probably maybe one to my name, but I used to just love looking at those MAC eyeshadow collections. And I remember watching those videos back then. I remember watching Marlena's and I think Juicy Star 07's like MAC collection. I just used to be in awe. I feel like Makeup Geek took over then with their affordable eyeshadows, and now there's just so many affordable eyeshadows like Coloured Rain and all those brands that we don't really hear much about MAC anymore. And then the second last product I want to talk about is MAC Angel. This is such an OG product, one of my favorite MAC lipsticks, one I will always have in my collection. This is actually a new one. It's just such a pretty lipstick that's it there. A gorgeous pink tone. It is a frost finish, but it doesn't come off really frosted on the lips. This was so popular on YouTube back in the day because Kim K had said it was like her favorite MAC lipstick or something like that, and everybody went crazy for it, myself included. Just remember people talking about it so much online. I didn't even think I knew who Kim Kardashian was at the time, but I just saw people using this and raving about it, and then later found out it was because of Kim Kardashian. MAC Angel, still a staple of mine. It's been in my life for forever. And the final product I want to talk about, I don't actually have it with me right now because I've decluttered them all because they were starting to turn because I've had them so long, and they were the NYX Butter Lip Glosses. Everybody used them. Everybody talked about them. They were so popular, so raved about, and I personally loved them, and I need to pick up maybe a couple more because I'm starting to get back into glosses again. My favorite one was it Creme Brulee? Yeah, Creme Brulee was my favorite, and Maple Blondie used to like that. It was kind of like a peachy shade, and there was a couple more that I was obsessed with. I can't remember them all right now, but I loved so many of them and used them to death. Okay guys, I'm totally out of breath right now. I need to go and have a drink. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this little walk down memory lane. Is there any nostalgic products that you can think from early YouTube, or even when you first started watching YouTube a couple of years ago? They don't even have to be like really throwback OG products, but products that you remember that nobody talks about anymore, but they were all the rage back then, and everybody used to rush out and grab them and use them and wear them, and they were just so popular. Because I can think of so many more, and I definitely recommend you go out and check Jess's channel out and her video on this topic because I really enjoyed her video as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you can be notified when I upload, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye guys!